Hello everyone and welcome to today's practice. We are going to have a special focus today on grounding through the feet. And I like to revisit this from time to time because it is so important to be able to root through the feet in all of the standing poses. And that's what gives you the ability to really have the spinal extension that you need to maximize your pose. And so that will be our focus. And we'll also be incorporating chair pose and some squatting in this. So I say that, so for those of you with knee issues, you may not be able to squat all the way down, and that's okay. So you would just try to squat a little bit if you've got knee issues. You want to come into it as much as you can. And the reason that's, you know how I am about movement. Pain in the knees is not to be argued with, but all your joints have synovial fluid. And if you're not moving the joint, the synovial fluid is not bathing the joint as it should. So in deep knee squats, you are literally immersing the joint in fluid. And so if it is at all possible for you, do try to do the squats to the best of your ability. If it's painful, give it a miss entirely. You can just skip the squatting part of the sequences, okay? As far as props, you'll need a blanket, which I happen to be sitting on. If you have a strap, that's great. We won't use this till the end. But don't worry, we can work around it if you don't have a strap. But if you have one, keep it close to hand. And of course, a couple of bricks might come in handy for you also. So let's come into our comfortable seat and just find that for yourselves right now. And just allow yourself those few moments to settle into an easy sitting posture. And just close your eyes when you're ready. And just allow that feeling of letting go to come over the body and all the places that you can let go. It's really important right now that you do that. So you'll need to be able to feel the sits bones, of course, pressing into the floor, and you'll need to be able to feel an extension of the spine. So in that regard, you will have to stay engaged there. But where you don't need muscles right now is around the jaw and the mouth, around your eyes and temples, your neck muscles. Just allow all that to soften. And get an idea in your mind of your alignment so that you can feel the sits bones pressing down and the crown of the head pressing upward. And then once all that's in place, just turn your focus to your breathing so that the next time you inhale, you become aware that you are inhaling. Take that inhale just as long and deep as you can. And as you exhale, just let that stale breath exit the body as fully as possible. So just shape the breath in that way. Just first try to get it long and slow. And then expand the awareness so that you start to feel a sensation of the depth of the breath and the three-dimensional quality of the breath. And finding that, let yourself have 3 more long, slow breaths like that. So your inhales are really filling up the body all the way under your armpits and into the back body. And when you exhale, you're really ridding yourself of that old breath. And then continuing to breathe like that, just slip your eyes open. Allow your arms to come to the sides of the body. Turn your palms outward. As you inhale next, bring the arms up over the head. And once the arms are extended, really press down through the sits bones even more and press up through the hands. And in this really extended position, I want you just to clasp your right wrist with your left hand. And as you inhale, pull up. And as you exhale, just go over. Nice and full breathing. As you inhale, reach back up again. And then you're going to clasp the opposite wrist. And on your next inhale, reach up so that you feel that arm as if it extends all the way to the lower ribs. And then you can exhale and bring that arm over your head. And when you inhale, reach back up again. As you exhale, nice big semicircle. Folding the hands right to the heart. Namaste. And just take your time with this movement now. Coming onto the hands and knees, nice and easy, moving the whatever you're sitting on out of the way. Coming onto the hands and knees position. Just take your time with this. Find your inner hands, and when you're ready, just begin to do your cat-cow. So as you inhale, you're lifting the heart. As you press into the inner hands and you lift the tailbone. And as you exhale, really draw that abdominal core inward and upward as you round the spine. Chin towards the chest, and you can tuck the tailbone under. So just roll through these movements on the breath like you know how to do. Inhaling into cow. And exhaling into the cat position. Remember to find your inner hands, and in both phases, you can really accentuate the pose that way. And slowly, wherever you are in this process, the next time you inhale, just come to neutral tabletop. So that when you exhale, you can set your hips right back towards your heels. Elbows can touch the floor. And just allow that full exhale so that you can release the low back. Release your head and neck. And as you inhale, you're coming back into the starting position. Little rise in your heart as you find your inner hands. As you exhale, you're looking over to the right, and the right shoulder and right hip comes a little closer together as you look behind yourself. As you inhale, you come to center, a little rise in your heart, pressing into the inner hands. As you exhale, coming over to the left, looking behind yourself. That left shoulder and left hip kind of come closer together. And then you inhale back to center, and you slowly exhale. Hips back towards the heels. Elbows touch the floor. Let that exhale come to its full conclusion, releasing the lower back. As you inhale, you're lifting back up again, rising the heart. As you exhale, looking behind yourself towards the right. As you inhale back to center. And then you're exhaling, looking over to the left. Inhaling to center, so you can exhale, hips back towards the heels. Just remember to go nice and slow so you can release the neck muscles and release the low back. Last one, now you're pressing into the tops of your feet, lifting back up on the inhale. Little rise in the heart as you find your inner hands. As you exhale, looking over to the right and behind yourself. Inhaling to center and exhaling over to the left. Very good. And then you're inhaling to center, exhaling right back into the extended child's pose. And this time, when you get there and the hips are towards the heels, you're going to reach the arms forward as much as you can and tent out those fingers and just allow yourself to press into the fingers and give just another little millimeter of space into that low back. So just feel the low back extend out of the pelvic bowl just for that moment. Very good. As when you exhale, we're going to start tracking those fingers back. So I want you to really engage the abdominal core as you round the back and start to trace those fingers right back. Really have a firm core engagement. As you come right back into a kneeling position, and then on the inhale, you're going to extend the heart forward. If you can now, we're going to go ahead and tuck those toes underneath us. If you have bricks, you might want to have the bricks a little closer to you at this point. When you're coming back onto those feet, I want you to make sure that little toe is pulled out so it sees a little action toe. And so for some of us, this is much easier than it is for others. And so if this is just not going to work for you, of course, you can just come forward a little bit. And when you bring your weight forward, it takes the weight off the feet. If you've got bricks, you can just put your hands onto the bricks. If you don't have bricks, you'll have to probably come onto your knuckles. But I want you to find a place where you can be for a few breaths. And for some of you that find it really excruciating, you might be able to come in and out with your weight more poised over the feet. So just see what's going to work. I want you to have a few breaths, but I really want you to stretch those 26 little muscles in your feet out. Now, if this isn't enough for you, you can always find your end pose. You can actually just bring your knees a little forward, and believe me, you will be able to find the place where you can stay. Okay, so remember, it's either in or out of the pose, or you're just being in the pose and breathing. I know we've been here already for a few breaths, but can you stay for 2 more long, slow breaths? Relaxing the muscles around your face. 1 more breath. And then let's all give ourselves a break and come out of that and come to the tops of the feet. If you need to tap a little bit, feel free to do that. And then let's have just a little counter pose as you come on back. Bring the hands right behind your hips. And maybe just lift your knees just a little bit. And so you might, it's not a back bend at all. And you might feel a little quad stretch as well, but where I want you to feel the stretch is at the very tops of your feet and the tops of your ankles, the fronts of your ankles. And again, you're just really leaning in with your awareness and your mindfulness to see how far you want to go here. How long do you want to stay? Nice and slowly. If you haven't already come out, we're going to come out of that now. Very good. Let's just have a little downward facing dog stretch now, flexing the toes under. You want to put your hands in the right position so they're a little forward of your shoulders. Come into the downward facing dog. Oh, it should feel really nice. And then let's pedal it out a little bit. Oh, just enjoy whatever sensations happening in your calves and your ankles and your feet. Oh, yes. And then come into the full expression of the pose that you can experience right now. So remember, when you're doing downward facing dog and holding the pose, you want to be able to feel the arms are very active. So make sure you're feeling that where it feels like the biceps are trying to spin upward and forward, and the triceps are trying to spin backwards. And just see if you can feel that. And then you want to really press into the balls of the feet, and you may or may not be able to let the heels touch the floor. Remember, it doesn't matter. If they can, that's great. If they can't, the energy of the heels is just going back towards the wall behind you as much as you can. Very good. And then slowly let's come onto our tippy toes here. Tippy toes as much as you can, and then bend the knees. And then pushing the floor away with the roots of your fingers. See if you can just begin to roll the feet back out on the floor again. Very good. And then let's move our hands a little closer to our feet and widen the feet and get them a little closer to the hands. Really nice here. And bring the hands a little closer in. You want to be able to settle and really feel the weight into your feet now, and let the head and neck relax. So what you want to feel is a nice, long, strong, firm line from your sits bones all the way down the backs of your legs into your heels. So you want to get those feet in a position where you actually can root the heels down towards the floor as well. So it's kind of a wide-legged forward bend in some respects. And then maybe you can widen just another inch or two out with your feet. And nice and easy from here, you're going to start leaning into the left foot, bending the left knee, and you're going to start to feel a stretch in the right groin. You may feel a stretch in the right groin, but what I want you to also accentuate is pressing the little toe side of that right foot into the floor. So you're also feeling a stretch in the outside right ankle. See if you can feel that. And then come back to center. Root down through the heels. And then you're going to lean right into the other side. So this time the right knee rather bends, and the weight is going into the right foot. And you're stretching into the left leg now. So you feel, remember, it's okay to feel the stretch in the left groin. You might very well feel that anyway. But I want you to press into the little toe side of that left foot and feel a stretch in the outside ankle. So make sure you're feeling that. And then let's come back to center and let's do it again on either side. So we're all just inhaling and going over with weight into the left foot, bending the left knee, and you're feeling the stretch in the outside right ankle by focusing on rooting down into the little toe side of that right foot. Coming back to center. Very nice. And then going over to the other side. And this time, of course, the stretch is in the left outside ankle, maybe the left groin as well. And inhale right back to center. And have one more stretch where you're trying to get the spine and your neck just as long as you can. So a little pressure into the fingers. Let your heart space go a little more towards the floor. And then feel the tailbone pressing back just a little bit as you relax your head and neck. Very good. And then bending both knees and bringing the hands and the feet a little closer together. And let's come right back onto the floor again. Now, if you have a brick, go ahead and place your brick between your ankles. We're going to come into a little bit of a squat here. So I want you to be able to really cozy the inside ankles and big toe side of the foot into the brick. If you don't have a brick, you're going to have to get your feet about sits bone distance apart, maybe a fist or two, depending on how wide your hips are. And you're going to have to just isometrically push the ankles into each other. If you have the brick, of course, you'll get that immediate feedback. But in this squatting position, I want you to really feel the inner ankles pressing into each other and feel the big toe side of the foot also onto the floor. Okay? And from this position with fingertips poised onto the floor, just see if you can raise up just a little bit now. The knee is going to go in towards the chest, and you're going to start to curl the tailbone under, and you can let the chin drop towards the chest. Just want you to see if this is doable for you. And then releasing back out of that intensity. Heels come closer to the floor, little lift in the heart. Reestablish again. You want to feel the whole ball of the foot, big toe side, little toe side, heels as close to the floor as you can get it, but you want to feel the ankles gripping inward towards each other. See if you can get that feedback of the rootedness of the feet. And then one more time from here. Go ahead, if you're able to do this, on the inhale, go ahead and cozy those knees up towards the armpits, up towards the chest, and the tailbone points right down underneath your body, your hips, and chin comes towards the chest. And then slowly coming out of that, you get a sensation that the feet are just rolling back, nice and slowly. Very good. And then pressing into the balls of the feet and the TP fingers, can you just begin to engage the thighs and lift the hips right away from the heels? And then you can put the heels firmly onto the floor. And then if you've got the brick, then you can really engage inward towards the brick. Otherwise, you're just going to have to isometrically contract the inner feet and ankles towards each other. Try to see if you could just rest for a moment your tummy towards your thighs and relax your head and neck and just look right down at your feet, okay? And with a little pressure into your hands, can you just lift the feet, the toes rather, off the floor and keep pressing into the ball of the foot and the heel on the inner big toe side as well. And you should really start to feel a slightly different, more rooted feeling. And then keeping that rooted feeling, can you let the toes come back to the floor? I want you to have a muscle memory of that rooted feeling through the feet, throughout all of our standing poses, and really press down towards the feet down a little bit more as you start to lift the heart. Bums have to lower just a little bit. And we're all going to come up to standing. So you can put your hands onto your thighs if you'd like. And slowly, let's come on up to standing. So once you're at standing, let's go ahead and come right to the tops of our mat. And find your Tadasana. And really let the feet feel anchored to the floor. You want to feel that rootedness, just like you've been practicing. You want to feel the pressing down of the feet and really also have a little more focus on the inner heels. It will, if you can press a little more there when you start to feel your feet getting a little bit lazy, it will reactivate things. So as you're pressing into the feet and rooting into the floor, just notice that lets you have just a little bit more length. And just for a moment, put your hands to the heart. And just lower your eyes. And just feel yourself getting into the alignment by starting first at the feet as you press into the feet. Feel the strength in your legs. Let that strength in the legs help you create lengthening in the spine. On your next inhale, feel your breastbone breathe right into your thumbs. Nice big full breath and just let it all out your nose as you exhale. One more time as you inhale, big full breath. And this time as you exhale, just let the hands come to the sides of the body, breathing and moving nice and slowly. The next inhale, you're breathing your arms out to the sides, really pressing into those feet, breathing the arms over the head. And as you exhale, you're lowering the arms back to the sides of the body. And again, as you inhale, breathing the arms out to the sides, palms leading the way. And feeling the length all the way from the soles of the feet to the fingertips. And then exhaling, releasing the arms back to the sides of the body. And then last time, as you inhale, breathe the arms up. Taking up lots of space and then feeling the length from the fingertips all the way down to the soles of the feet. And as you exhale, a little bend in the knee. And come into the forward fold. You can either put your hands on bricks if you have them or on TP fingers. As you inhale, breathe the chest forward. And as you exhale, again, fold the heart towards your thighs as much as you can. A little bit of an exhale here as you sink a little more towards the floor. So you're bending the knees generously, coming into as much of a squat as you can. As you inhale, you're just rolling the knees a little closer in towards the chest as you point your tailbone down. You can look down at your feet. And then exhale, you just bring those feet back to the floor. And as you inhale, you're raising the hips up and coming right into, slowly coming into a chair pose. And reaching up. And I want you to feel, as you really root into the floor here, can you feel the reciprocal lengthening in the crown of the head and your fingertips? So I really want you to feel that in this chair pose, as you press into the feet, it actually facilitates the lengthening of your spine. Lovely. And then as you inhale, back into Tadasana. And as you exhale, just rest the arms to the sides of the body. And let's keep going. As you inhale, breathe up. And as you exhale, come into your forward bend. As you inhale, little rise in the heart. And as you exhale, feel the chest folding a little more, tummy folding a little bit more towards the thighs. Bend the knees as much as you need to. As you inhale, let's go ahead and come into your chair pose. Pressing down into the feet and helping that length created in the spine. And from here, nice and slowly, you're going to press more into the right foot and just lift the left knee. Or rather bend the left knee, you're lifting the left foot. Of course, you might be wiggling and wobbling, but try to find some stability in this one-legged chair pose. And then slowly let the left foot come back to the floor. Press into the left foot, and then you're going to raise the right foot off the floor. Same thing. You might need to sink a little bit more. I just noticed I stood up a little more to try to get away from the chair pose, but catch yourself doing that. Go ahead and work slowly and thoroughly as much as you can. Lovely. And then drop the right foot. Inhale and come into your Tadasana. Exhale, release the arms to the sides of the body. You're doing great. Let's just keep going. As you inhale next, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, come into your forward bend. As you inhale, go ahead and lift the heart. And as you exhale, release the heart, release the tummy towards the thighs. Nice, long, slow breath, so you have lots of time for the movement. As you inhale, you're breathing your way right up into chair pose. A little more pressure into the right foot as you lift the left foot off the floor. Next time you inhale, let's step back nice and long and come into a warrior one position. Reaching up nice and high. You might need to situate yourself a little bit in this pose. As you exhale, can you bend the left knee just a little bit or as much as you can and reestablish length in the spine and lengthen the upper body as you do that. The next time you inhale, I want you to press as if you're trying to press into an imaginary wall behind you. Press that left foot into the floor. A little more focus on the left inner heel. And one more time. Exhale, bend the left knee. And then as you inhale, you're pressing that left foot into an imaginary wall behind you. Very good. And then nice and easy as you exhale, bringing the arms down and inhale, stepping forward. Back into your mountain pose. Have a big breath. Let's do the other side. As you inhale, breathing the arms up. As you exhale, coming right into a forward bend. As you inhale, lifting the heart, straightening the legs if you can. And as you exhale, bending the knees and bringing the tummy and the chest just as close to your thighs as your body allows. As you inhale, coming into the chair pose. And this time you're rooting right down into the left foot and raising that right foot off the floor. And the next inhale, you're stepping back with the right leg. Remember, situate yourself so you're not on, you don't have scissor legs here. Make sure it feels really strong and stable. And then on your next exhale, can you keep the front leg where it is and just bend the left knee a little bit. Keep lengthen the spine as you do that. And as you inhale, press that right foot into that imaginary wall behind you. On the exhale, bend the right knee again. And on your inhale, press that into that imaginary wall behind you. A little more pressure into the inner heel of that right foot. Lovely. And then as you exhale, let's release. Arms come down, a little straightening in the legs. And then you can step forward on the inhale. Back into your mountain pose again. So let's just add on just a little bit here. As you inhale, you're breathing the arms up. Remember that feeling in the feet. You're anchoring down, but the inner ankles are trying to isometrically come a little closer together. So you feel that strength and groundedness in your feet. As you exhale, coming into the forward bend. As you inhale, lifting the heart. As you exhale, a little bit of more of a forward bend, and heart and chest attempt to come a little closer to the thighs. As you inhale into the chair pose. Pressing into the right foot and lifting the left. And then stepping back with that left foot into the warrior one. Little bend in the left knee. And as you inhale, you're pressing into your imaginary wall behind you. And on your next inhale, lift up a little bit more and just transition into your warrior two. Opening out now to the left. You might have to arrange your legs and feet just a little bit for your warrior two. And then as you inhale, I want you to straighten both legs. Raise your arms over your head, and I want you to really feel that back leg, the left leg. I want you to press firmly into the floor and feel the little toe side really plug into the floor. So I want you to remember that feeling coming back into your warrior two. Maybe sinking a little lower this time. And on the inhale, you're reaching up, straightening the legs, reaching up with the arms. And as you exhale, coming right back into your warrior two. Really feel that back leg plugged in there to the floor. Last time, as you inhale, breathe the arms up and straighten the legs. A little more focus into that back leg, back foot. And then as you exhale, coming right into the warrior two. And see if you can go just a little bit lower, keeping the back foot plugged into the floor. So you feel really wide in the arms, really strong in the legs. Very nice. And then slowly we're going to segue chest forward, gracefully as you can. Put the arms or hands to the floor. And then a couple motions maybe coming into the forward bend. And then we're going to do that little toe stretch, little squat. So as you exhale, bend the knees. As you inhale, coming onto the tippy toes, can you bring the knees a little more into the chest and point that tailbone down, looking down towards the floor. And as you exhale, just press those feet back into the floor again. As you inhale, lift the hips and continue right on up into your chair pose. Next inhale, right into Tadasana. And exhale, bring the arms to the sides of the body. You're doing great. Let's do the other side now with that little addition of Warrior Two. As you inhale, you're breathing the arms up, feeling that lovely length. As you exhale, you're folding right over, either touching the blocks or touching the floor. As you inhale, you lift the heart. As you exhale, you just allow the little bend in the knee as much as you need and get the tummy a little closer to the thighs. As you inhale, you're coming right into your chair pose. Pressing into the left foot a little more, lifting the right. And then you're just stepping right back into your Warrior One. And as you exhale, you're bending just a little bit with that right leg, bending the right knee, making sure you don't lose your balance. As you inhale, you're pressing the right foot into that imaginary wall behind you and keeping length in the spine. The next time you inhale, you're reaching up a little more and transitioning right into your Warrior Two. You're opening up to the right now. The next time you inhale, you're going to press the arm, reach the arms up and straighten the legs. And again, feel that little more pressure into the little toe side of that back foot. And really have a muscle memory of that. And then exhale back into your Warrior Two. Maybe sinking a little bit lower. And then as you inhale, reaching up one last time, pressing in particularly into that back foot as you lengthen up through the arms and spine. And then exhale, coming right into your Warrior Two. And just can you hold this for a couple more breaths now? And so you want to try to sink as low as you can and still keep the strength and the firmness in the back foot. Lovely. And then as you inhale, you're coming out just a little bit so that you can pivot. Chest comes forward, and with control, the arms come to the floor. And then the next inhale, just take a couple steps. Come back into your forward bend. If your knees are okay, let's go for one more sort of squat and toe stretch, sinking down as you exhale. As you inhale, coming onto the tippy toes, raising the knees a little bit and pointing that tailbone right down to the floor beneath you. Lovely. As you exhale, you're just rolling out with the feet, preparing as you inhale to come right into chair pose. And the next inhale, right into Tadasana. Exhale, releasing that. Lovely. And then place your hands to the heart. Just have 2 or 3 long, slow breaths here. And reestablish the rootedness in your feet. Really press down And feel again those inner ankles, those inner heels with a little more isometric contraction coming towards each other. And feel the space in between your vertebrae as you stand nice and tall. And again, just notice as you press firmly into the feet, it's a little easier to press upward through the crown of the head. And so now you decide if you'd like to come along for a last little sequence. We're going to add just a little bit more onto it. If you are able to do that, let's all come along if you are. Exhaling, releasing the arms. Inhaling, breathing the arms up, pressing into the feet. As you exhale, folding into your forward bend. As you inhale, lifting the heart, straightening the back. As you exhale, let the knees bend a little bit and just allow the body to flow over your legs, the upper body to flow over the legs. As you inhale, right into the chair pose. A little more pressure into that right foot so you can lift the left leg and step back into the warrior one. Reaching up nice and high, bending that back knee just so, as much as your body will allow. And then inhaling, straightening again, pressing that foot into an imaginary wall behind you, lifting up a little higher the next inhale, and transitioning right into warrior two. Any little movement you need is fine to set that up. If all is well, I want you to come into your version of extended warrior now. Just bring the right elbow, right forearm to the right thigh and raising the left arm. Before you go any further, I want you to feel the back foot really press into the floor as you raise that left arm. And feel a connection there so that as you inhale next, and bring that left arm a little more parallel with your upper ear, you feel as though that little toe side of the back foot and your fingers on the left hand have a long line of connection. Nice, long, slow breaths. And slowly, when you're ready to come out, we're just going to pivot slowly with control, right back down to the floor again, and you'll need to pivot on the ball of the foot, on the back foot. And then a couple steps if you need it, we're going to come into our forward bend. Release the body, release the upper body towards the legs as you exhale. And as you inhale, into chair. And we're pressing now into the left foot. One-legged chair for just a moment so that you can step back with that right leg right into your warrior one. Reaching up as high as you can, feeling the extension. As you exhale next, bend that back knee just a little bit and keep the extension in your spine. You might need to reach up a little more. As you inhale, you're pressing that back foot into that imaginary wall. Reaching up a little more with the arms, and let it be one fluid motion as you come right into warrior two. This time you're opening up, of course, to the right. And just find that perfect warrior two for your body before you come into the extended warrior on this side. So nice and fluid, really keeping that back foot connected to the floor. You're just leaning the forearm of the left hand or into the left thigh, and you're raising that right arm towards the ceiling. And again, take that moment to feel the connection between the little toe side of that back foot and that right upper arm before you inhale and open it out a little bit more. And you're breathing nice and slow and feeling the connection all the way from the little toe side of that back foot to the fingertips of that upper hand. And then when you're ready, just nice and slowly, we're going to start transitioning. Right hand comes down, left hand comes down. Pivot on the ball of the back foot, nice and safely. You can take a couple steps, coming into a forward bend. As you exhale, come in just a little bit more. As you inhale, slowly with control, firmly anchor, feet firmly anchored to the floor, come into your chair pose one last time. And on the next inhale, right into Tadasana. And then release your arms to the side of the body. And just for a moment here, place your hands to the heart. And just have a few long, slow breaths. Lower your eyes. And just let your awareness go inward here. You're filling up with air with each and every inhale, as much as you can. And you're feeling all of that staleness leave the body with each and every exhale. And just slowly slip your eyes open when you feel ready. And exhale the arms to the sides of the body. Well done, everybody. And now we're all going to come back to the floor again. So as you've all come down to the floor now, we're going to come right on back, all the way to our backs. And when you get there, if you'd like to have a stretch, feel free. Oh, yeah, that feels really lovely to me. And then bend your knees. And we're going to have a version of bridge pose. But for this version, I'd like for you to try to get your heels as close in towards your hips as your knees allow. And then maybe widen the feet just a little bit wider than your hips. A little bit wider. And turn the toes in just slightly. If it's comfortable enough to do that. And just see how it feels. A little movement in your pelvis, a little pelvic tilt that you know how to do. See how all that feels. And then really press into your feet as much, even more than usual. I want you to feel a real rootedness through the feet. And just see how you can lift yourself up here. And reach your arms under, interlock your hands, and really snuggle those shoulders underneath you. What I want you to try to feel is a lengthening in the spine before you raise your hips any higher than a half bridge pose. So it feels a little bit like maybe your heels are trying to come closer to your hips. But I want you to find the spinal length. And then really rooted through the feet, can you lift your hips up a little bit higher? And can you get your arms underneath you just a little bit more? So the idea is to get your hips up as high as you can and really create some length right at the very front of those groins. And tuck those shoulder blades up, right up underneath you. Just have a few long, slow breaths here. If all is well, I want you to really dig in with the right heel and just lift the left heel off the floor a little bit. And then reestablish the higher hip. So dig into that right heel, lift your hips, and have a breath or two. And then slowly allow the left heel to come back to the floor. And then you're going to put a little more weight into that left heel, really dig down, and then you can lift the right heel. And from that position,
Find a little more height in your hips, digging into that left heel and feeling that lovely extension now right over your left groin. Long, slow breaths. And then slowly let the right heel come back to the floor. And one last time, pressing into the whole length of your arms and particularly rooting into the feet. Lift your hips as high as they can. Lift your chin, or rather lift your chest closer to your chin. And then let's ever so slowly bring the back and the spine to the floor again. Very good. And then you can move your feet just slightly closer together. And bring your right thigh in towards the chest and stretch your left leg out. Just have a couple breaths like that. And then if you do have a strap and you want to use it, make sure it's close enough to grab. I should have said that before, sorry. And stretch the leg up and just have your hands interlock behind the thigh and just have a breath or two where you're pressing the thigh into the hands and also pressing the hands back into the thigh. Have a couple breaths there. Now, for those of you who don't have a strap, you want to find a place to really clasp that's comfortable around the leg. If you have a strap, it's fine. You just want to, like a little stirrup, put the strap in the insole of the right foot. And if you don't have the strap, I'll show you both ways. You want to try to extend that foot or rather extend the leg as much as you can. And then I want you to activate the foot. If you look right up at your foot, it's as if it's standing on the ceiling, right? So the toes aren't pointing. The whole sole of the foot is as if it's standing on the ceiling. If you don't have a strap, no problem at all. You're just going to be clasping around the thigh or clasping around the calf. And slowly now extend as much as you can. And then you're going to just slightly rotate those toes out. So you're actually rotating in that hip joint just slightly so that the toes go out. And then nice and easy, you're just going to allow that right leg to come over to the right, just as far as it wants to come. For those of you who don't have a strap, or even if you do have a strap, the idea is to, as you're holding on to that leg in either case, I want you to, if you've got the strap, I'll demonstrate. I want you to be able to use your own elbow as a prop, is what I'm trying to say. So once you get it over there, as far as it goes to the right, your elbow's on the floor. And so it gives you a certain element of control. Remember, those toes and the hip joint is just rotating outward just a little bit. And in this, really feel the left hip, the left rib cage, the left shoulder very anchored to the floor. And just have 3 more long, slow breaths. And just allow all the inner thigh and the groins to open on the right leg. And after you've had those 3 long, slow breaths, you're going to slowly bring the leg back. If you don't have a strap, remember, there's no problem at all. You're just holding on, bringing it back to center. And then slowly, once it's there, you're revolving back so that the toes are dead center. And you're exhaling, bringing that right leg to the floor. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So this time you're going to bring the left thigh in. Interlock your hands just above the left shin and just draw the left thigh in towards the body as much as it wants to go. Just a breath or 2 there. And then extend it up. Put your interlocked hands just behind the thigh And then you want to push those hands into the thigh at the same time you're pushing back with the thigh into the hands. Just for 2 or 3 breaths until you start to feel a little tremor in your leg. Just wake those muscles up a little bit. Lovely. And then we're going to take it over to the side. Remember, you're either using a strap or you're holding onto the leg with your same side hand and just rotating those toes outward. So it's all happening in the hip joint as you lay your left leg now over to the left. Remember, when you're holding onto the leg like this, your elbow will naturally form a little kickstand. Makes it nice and safe. And you've got to keep, if you don't have a strap, you've got to keep reminding yourself to lengthen the leg, and you really want to treat that foot as if it's standing on a surface all the way over. And allow the right hip to stay heavy, the right rib cage, otherwise it might try to come up off the floor, and you want to resist that. And just bring it over as far as you can, sustain for several breaths. And in the final expression of the pose, you really want to allow the facial muscles to release. Right shoulder and rib cage is nice and heavy to the floor. And your breath is long and slow. And you want to allow 3 or 4 breaths. And when you've done that, very gently, you're going to bring that left leg back up with control. Press. And then on an exhale, you're going to lower that left leg to the floor. Very good. And then just have any little stretch or movement that you'd like to have. Any little yoga pose or stretch is absolutely fine. And then we're going to do our final shavasana along with some pranayama. So if you've got bricks, this is what we're going to do. We're going to position one brick where it's going to be right behind our shoulder blades. And then the other brick, whatever height feels best, is going to be underneath your head. And it might even be the highest height. It might not, just whatever feels good to you. And if you do have a blanket also, you want to bring that blanket. I've got it tri-folded like this, if you can see. And I've got it nice and high towards my hips. And you might want to come out into a little Baddha Konasana, a little bound angle. The idea is to really open up so that you feel a little rise in your diaphragm. Now, if you don't have bricks, what you're going to do is create a little roll with your blanket. And you're just going to let this be right along the spine from the tailbone all the way up to your neck. So just see if this works for you. If none of this works for you, you can just go ahead and come into your shavasana. You'll still be able to do the pranayama. So you might need to finagle just a little bit and find the position that works best for you. And just allow yourself to settle in that position. Just make sure you're comfortable. Just have a couple normal breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. And then when you're ready to begin the pranayama, we're just going to have an inhale of a 4 count through the nose and an exhale of a 6 count through the nose. So let's just all begin together just for the first 2 or 3 breaths. On the next inhale, you're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just continue like that on your own, just for the next few breaths. So you're inhaling to a count of 4, exhaling to a count of 6. Really feel the inhale inflating the body. And as you have that long extended 6 count exhale, just allow every remnant of that stale breath to exit the body. And whenever you start to get a natural urge to just let go of the breathing pattern, just allow the breath to do what it would like to do. It's absolutely fine to stop the counting of the breath and just allow your own natural spontaneous breath to take over. So just now allow yourself the choice of maybe just staying here in this position for a few more minutes and just breathing long, slow breaths. Or if in fact you're ready to come out, then you'll close out with me, rolling off to the side. And you're going to be coming in to a seated posture in that case. Just let yourself, if you have chosen to come out, just let yourself come back to the seated posture nice and slowly. And gently opening the eyes when you're ready. And with hands to the heart. Namaste. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye for now.